Teachers, administrators, have a seat, join me for coffee, let's have a little chat. What is the difference between a literature teacher and a writing curriculum provider? I have a guess. A writing curriculum provider wants to teach your students how to write, lesson after lesson, week after week, month after month, year after year. The literature teacher just wants to get the writing taught. I was a literature teacher at a classical school that was very writing intensive. I was required to assign my students 8 papers per year. I taught about 4 or 5 sections of literature with about 20 to 22 kids in each class. That's 80 students a year. You can do the math. I don't even want to think about how much I was actually getting paid to do this. Maybe that's why I don't like math. Anyway, the writing problem was a source of consternation and constant discussion in faculty meetings. The writing problem really wouldn't be a big deal at all if you could just grade like that teacher in the movie A Christmas Story. You probably remember her. She just sits there and she's like, F, 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 and she just gives it an F and moves on. You can't do that in the real world, right? Failing grades that are dished out to students without copious notes about what exactly they did wrong and how they can improve are very upsetting to parents. And for good reason. If you think about it, most humanities teachers are in a position of having to grade students on skills, writing skills, that they never even taught them. And in many cases, the students never learned. So it really is kind of an unfair situation for both the teacher and the student. But this puts humanities teachers in a situation where they have to then provide tons and tons of feedback every time they assign a paper. Feedback is extremely time consuming, and teachers often have better things they want to do with their weekends, understandably. Even when you do provide a lot of feedback for the students, oftentimes the students don't even read it, and if they do read it, it doesn't always make sense to them. Now, I promise you there were times when I spent more time grading a paper than the students spent writing it in the first place. So annoying. So this is all to say that providing feedback is just a super inefficient way to teach writing. We humanities teachers have a way of dealing with this problem and solving it, don't we? Here's solution number 1. Look familiar? Here's solution number 2. Now, both of these solutions can make humanities teachers very happy, and they make the students very happy too. But the parents don't like it. They're like, why isn't my kid doing any writing in school? And the administrators will then hear about it. At this point, the next thing that happens in faculty meetings is the humanities teachers turn around and scapegoat the English department. Trust me, I've been there. They say, it's their problem. They're not doing their job. They're not teaching the students how to write. Okay, so now it's time for solution number 3. The administrators get involved and they decide that they're going to have a special class required for freshmen, all composition, and they're going to have a writing curriculum and they're going to put somebody in the English department in charge of it. Okay, that was me. I was that teacher. The thing is, I was teaching my literature students in this class over here, and then I had my composition students over here. And what I noticed was I was doing a whole year's worth of writing instruction in this composition class, and some of the students were in both classes, and they were getting A's in composition, but they were still getting D's and F's on their literature essays. They were still pretty terrible. At this point, you know what I did. Well, naturally, I turned around and scapegoated the middle school English department. I said, you guys aren't doing your job. You see, it's like a presidential administration, right? Like you have to say, I inherited these problems. No, but of course I went to the middle school teachers who were sending their students into my freshman year classes, and I said, can you guys just stop doing any writing and just do grammar? Just teach them grammar. If you send them to me knowing the grammar, I can handle the rest. And they said, we do teach them grammar. We do a ton of grammar before they get to your class. And I'm like, well, why isn't this showing up in their papers, right? So at this point, I decided I couldn't scapegoat the poor middle school English teachers, so I decided to go rogue. I was like, okay, I'm beholden to the curriculum over here in my composition classes, but in literature, I'm just going to teach them what I want to teach them. I'm going to teach them exactly what I want them to do and exactly how to do it. No fluff, no busy work, no extra, just the essence of what they need to be doing in my class. So I decided to do that, and over the course of 10 years, I tinkered rather obsessively with my little system, right? Through trial and error, figuring out what worked, and through grading all those hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of papers, I started to see patterns and things that would come up again and again and again. And I would tinker with my system, and I created my own little writing refinery, if you will, my own little writing fiefdom. And it worked. The writing problem still existed in the high school, but not with my students. There were some teachers who taught juniors and seniors who would tell me, I love getting your literature students. They are always the best writers in the class. One teacher even said that my sophomores or juniors that left my classes were better writers than his community college students. One administrator even told me that I was the best writing instructor their school had ever had. So when I stopped teaching in a school, I started asking myself, what exactly was I doing that was so effective? And I think I've figured it out, and I've created a program called the 12-Paper Plunge that aims to get your students writing at a college level by the end of a 12-paper cycle. I'm drawing from 10 years worth of experience with this program, and I'm very excited to introduce it to schools. You don't need to abandon whatever writing curriculum you might be using. They oftentimes do help. They sometimes do help students to write, but this can be done, I like to say it can be done beside, between, and beyond curriculum. It goes beyond curriculum, and the amount of writing instruction is really minimal. So there are some things that I can teach your students that will alleviate the burden from your humanities teachers so they don't have to worry about teaching it. But I do need to work with your humanities teachers because a lot of the program comes down to how you assign and grade the papers. And it's called a plunge because it requires everybody. No more playing hot potato. No more scapegoating the English department or the middle school teachers. The writing problem in many ways, it's a societal-wide problem, but it's definitely a school-wide problem, and it demands a school-wide solution. So if you are intrigued, I encourage you to book a call with me today. I'd love to tell you more about how it works. We can talk about your school and your students and decide if it's a good fit and if you will be able to implement it effectively in your school. So thank you so much for listening. Stop playing that game of hot potato. Give the hot potato to me. I can do it. I can take care of it, and I can help you to help your students to become excellent writers in a short amount of time. For you teachers out there, I can't promise you you're never going to have to give feedback again. You will, but I can tell you that when you do give feedback, it will be efficient and it will be effective, and it will be sometimes even extremely rewarding, because papers and writing are just a great way to carry on almost a Socratic dialogue with each individual student and really develop a personal relationship with them. So give me a call soon. Hope to hear from you. Bye.